A federal judge has just denied Diddy's request to delay his trial after new evidence revealing 3 more victims was uncovered. Diddy's family has stopped showing up to his trial, and allegedly Ava Baron Combs, Diddy's adopted stepdaughter, is being subpoenaed to testify in the upcoming trial. Rumors of Ava Baron Combs being a missing child are making rounds on social media, and the story keeps getting wilder. Let's break it down.
My name's Ava. I'm a Scorpio.
No. What's your last name?
Oh, Ava Combs.
What's your other last name?
Ava Baroni.
Ava Baroni Combs? Yes, it was breaking news. Diddy adopted a white child. I want you to tell them the story about how I adopted you. But you still have beautiful parents but you're my child also. But please tell the story.
So, I was on the streets, and then Papa Combs decided that he would like to be a caring man. So then he saw me and decided to pick me up and said to come inside and play with his thing.
Hey, what are we doing tonight, baby?
We're making desserts for our bonfire tomorrow.
Okay.
Because, and like everyone that was invited has to bring something, and then our thing that we had to bring was dessert. And then like everyone else, they bring like food and drink.
Fans are peeling back the layers of Diddy's relationship with Ava Baron Combs. And it's shocking. In 2020, Diddy revealed that he had adopted Ava Baron, and that Ava, who was allegedly 12 at the time of the video, actually wanted a black father. During an Instagram live, Diddy even kissed Ava on the cheek after she said that she had been living on the streets before Diddy adopted her. A report by TMZ later revealed that Diddy never officially adopted Ava. Shockingly, Ava's face matched perfectly with pictures of a missing child who was lost around the same time that Diddy claimed to have adopted Ava.
Around and found some old photos that go back many years. She was with him when she was very, very young, so she is in fact his adopted daughter. Some are saying this woman in the background here is her mother, but nothing is confirmed. You can see she's been with him in interviews, hanging out with Diddy's daughters. She was seen everywhere with Diddy's daughter. Here's another one, and I mean they go way back. And here's a few more. So it shows that yes, indeed, they spent time together and they grew up together. This is in fact their sister and Diddy's adopted daughter. However, I found a video that is so suspect. I want you guys to check it out and tell me what you think.
This is my life.
I have a lot of cars now.
This is because I am a great father, but I'm sleeping with the girl. Tell me, who do y'all have a crush on? Tell Daddy the truth.
I don't know about you guys, but that video and the way Diddy's acting raises so many questions. So many are asking, where's Ava Baroni Combs now? This is the most recent photo I found. There's another one I'm going to show you, which is this one right here. But sisters and Diddy are nowhere.
Diddy are nowhere to be found. Diddy has a history of abuse, and now even his family has stopped showing up to see him. Both of Diddy's sons, Justin and Quincy, who he adopted when he was just 3, have now been mentioned in lawsuits along with their father. There is even video footage that shows Justin at Diddy's freak-off parties. In his lawsuit, ex-producer Lil Rod also claimed that Justin had been involved in the cover-up of an alleged drive by shooting involving Diddy. Claims that Justin was involved in sourcing sex workers for Diddy are also present in the filing. In
on his demeanor or anything on from that we picked up from Diddy today?
Yeah, it was different than usual. You know, he got into the courtroom with his pad of paper and his pen, really intently ready to just take notes. And he looked back into the gallery where he usually sees a row of family members and friends, supporters of his. But when he turned around and looked in the gallery, none of his children were there today, and he visibly looked upset. Now, about 10 minutes into the hearing, his son Justin did come in and sit in the gallery. Diddy turned a second time, looked directly at him, kind of nodded, and acknowledged that his son was in the courtroom today. But you could really tell that it impacted him when he turned back and did not see any kind of friendly face.
Where some of the allegations against his son, Justin Comey's, come in. So all this takes us back to February, when Rodney Jones, also known as the producer Lil Rod, filed civil suit against Diddy. In his lengthy lawsuit, Lil Rod straight name drops Justin Comey's, describing him as someone who solicits prostitutes, underage girls, and workers. There's actually a picture of Justin Comey's with an allegedly underage girl shown in the lawsuit. Now, in this specific instance, Lil Rod alleges at least one underage girl came to Diddy's home for a listening party. A sex worker was also apparently solicited, and a freak-off ensued. As an aside, this is the same night that Lil Rod alleges Diddy forced him to take a laced shot. He started to feel lightheaded, and then woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning naked next to a sex worker. It's important to note Justin Comey's is listed as a defendant on this case because, according to Lil Rod, he facilitated Diddy's alleged RICO enterprise and at times participated. Diddy has a history of abuse when it comes to minors, and sources close to him claimed that Diddy's relationship with his adopted son Quincy was also incredibly suspicious. Freddie P., an artist who used to work with Diddy, says that he witnessed suspicious behavior between Diddy and his stepson Quincy Comey's. Allegedly, Diddy was grooming his son, and this has been happening ever since Quincy.
I be wanting to know, like, why were you so infatuated with a child that wasn't yours? Were you grooming that little boy? I don't even want to start those conversations because that's not your child. You know what I'm saying? And for you to keep him that close, it's like you kept him that close because he might got your secrets, because he's not your child. So if he's not your child and you that type of person with that type of character, you don't mind actually doing it to him when he finally reaches a certain age, because he's not yours. And you know in your mind he's not yours. And now you keep him real close to you. You make sure he don't go to his daddy. Why? You make sure he's separated with him, and you provide him with everything he wants. Why? You got one of them little Michael Jackson secrets? He got one of them secrets that he can't tell nobody, because his legacy, I mean, his manhood gonna be, and not only that, his brother not gonna look at him crazy. Only Puffy know, only God and Puffy.
Quincy, right?
I don't know. All I'm gonna say is, I don't know.
Albie Short son?
All I'm gonna say is, who's infatuated with another man's son like that? Like, you guess that seemed like.
This alleged abuse is what eventually led both Christian and Justin to become abusers themselves. The cycle of abuse Diddy started is now being continued by his sons. Christian King Comey's has been named as a defendant in a lawsuit recently filed by 26-year-old stewardess Grace Omar. Grace claims that Christian groped her and sexually harassed her after drugging her with laced drinks at one of Diddy's yacht parties.
25 years old at the time. She believed that the trip would be a, quote, wholesome family excursion, but says it, quote, turned into a hedonistic environment, even describing rampant drug use amongst sex workers and celebrities who came on board. She believes that the alcohol on the yacht had been laced with drugs because she says women would have one drink and then almost immediately pass out or start falling over. This is, by the way, something that it was also alleged in Jones's lawsuit, that Combs would spike the drinks of different people. But focusing on Christian Combs, well, Markey says that Christian Combs had been staying at a villa on the shore, but that he would come onto the yacht in the evening to party. And on December 28, 2022, Christian reportedly arrived very intoxicated and then proceeded to pressure Markey to take shots of tequila. She did. Christian allegedly tried to get her to drink more in the yacht's makeshift studio. Markey alleges that Christian kissed her neck, kissed her face, as he groped her legs, breasts, and private area.
Diddy's children are complicit in the abuse he carried out. Justin is allegedly also involved in the cover-up of a drive-by shooting that occurred at a recording studio in Los Angeles. In his lawsuit, Lil Rod Jones alleges that the shooting happened inside the studio, where a man Identified as G was found wounded and bleeding on the floor. Jones claims that Diddy was present, and Diddy told him to lie to the police and hid with his son when the cops arrived for his involvement in an alleged shooting cover-up. According to court documents, it happened on September 12, 2022, outside Diddy's Chalice Studios. Lil Rod says Diddy, his son Justin, and Justin's friend, who went by G, were all there when things got heated. Lil Rod says he heard multiple gunshots ring out and later found G on the bathroom floor in the fetal position. Lil Rod says he was bleeding out of his hip and leg area. Lil Rod says he was applying pressure to G's wounds and then asked the crowd to call an ambulance. At that point, both Diddy and Justin Holmes disappeared to another part of the studio. Diddy then gave strict instructions to inform the police that he had nothing to do with the shooting. He also forced Mr. Jones to lie to the police by telling them that G was shot standing outside the studio by a drive-by assailant. So that specific allegation involves Diddy's son Justin, but another allegation, an entirely separate civil lawsuit, involves his other son Christian, or King Combimi's. Grace Omarke alleges that Christian Combimi sexually assaulted her on a yacht in December 2022, and she says it was facilitated by Diddy. To make matters worse, Diddy's kids are actively working to stop their mother's memoir from getting published. This memoir allegedly contains details of how Diddy ran his sex trafficking ring. One of Kim Porter's old friends, Courtney Burgess, has been trying to publish Kim Porter's last memoir, but a lawsuit has been filed against him by Diddy's kids. These people aren't even loyal to their own mother.
Here's the other thing with Mr. Burgess. He apparently says he owns the rights to a book that was reportedly based on the alleged memoir of Kim Porter. In fact, according to TMZ, Burgess' phone was seized by the feds, and on it was a copy of a flash drive with material that was used in this book. Here's the problem. Christian and Quincy Combs, these are the sons of Diddy and Kim Porter. Quincy's actually adopted by Diddy. But they are reportedly fighting back, and they have sent Burgess a cease and desist letter to prevent the further sale of this book. They argue this is just an attempt to capitalize on Porter's fame and that they own the rights to her IP, her intellectual property, like her diary entries, her potential manuscript. As her heirs, they own it. And they also want an accounting of current sales of the book. To be clear, though, they aren't acknowledging that there is, in fact, a long-lost memoir from their mother. In fact, they've actually denied that before when there was a similar book, a derivative work, we'll talk about that, published by this guy named Chris Todd on Amazon. They were adamantly fighting against that. They said that their mother wouldn't write this. But what they're basically saying is if something should exist, they own it.
Some of the biggest child actors in Hollywood were being pimped out by their parents. So it isn't surprising to think that someone like Diddy could fall this low too. Demi Moore, for example, was sold by her mother for $500. Some participants at Diddy's parties have even come forward and said on the record that they witnessed bringing their children to Diddy's freak-off parties and then leaving them alone.
She is taken by her mother to bars so that men will notice them. She's 15 when she comes home one night and an older man they know is in the apartment with the key. She writes, it was rape and a devastating betrayal, revealed by the man's cruel question, how does it feel to be whored by your mother for $500?
Do you believe she sold you?
I think in my deep heart, no. I don't think it was a straightforward transaction, but she still did give him the access and put me in harm's way.
Everyone in the industry knew what Diddy was doing. It was common knowledge that children were present at Diddy's freak-off parties. And there is video evidence to prove all the celebrities were fully aware of the abuse that was happening at these parties. But they still went. Why? Because they just didn't care. One person who was always anti-DY and was always speaking about Diddy as a problematic person was 50 Cent. And it turns out that it's just been announced that he's created a docu-series on Netflix. I can't wait to see this. The other end of that
person who was always anti-Diddy and was always speaking about Diddy as a problematic person was 50 Cent. And it turns out that it's just been announced that he's created a docu-series on Netflix. I can't wait to see this. The other end of that, every person who has tried to speak out about this, who has tried to speak out about the industry, the type of people that are controlling the industry, the attacks that people face from the media if they try to speak out, is always the same. They're called crazy. And an example of one such individual who went through those sorts of attacks is the actor Orlando Brown. He was on Disney, and I remember everyone telling us that he was totally insane and deranged when he was saying a lot of things that at the time sounded crazy, particularly about Diddy. Take a listen.
The requirement is you gotta say no to Diddy. If it's new booty in the building, you know he gonna get it.
Don't take your girlfriend to a Diddy party.
You can take the but he won't shoot.
Diddy, to me, is the fall guy. We are still seeing a major effort to protect the big names, just like with Jeffrey Epstein.
You and Puff haven't liked each other business-wise for a long time.
Well, that's why it's only business. It was really, away from that, I explained why I didn't hang out with him, right? Because it's fluffy stuff going on.
It's not your scene.
It's not my stuff.
Not your scene.
They hug you from the front and the back at the same time. I got uncomfortable with him because the way he was acting to try and get me to hang out with him was like, yo, I'll take you shopping. Like, and I'm like, what you mean? Like, that's something you say to a woman you're attracted to, maybe.
Right.
It's just weird, bro. Like, and now you start to see a lot of the weird stuff that was there. It looks like it all lines up, don't it? It was not in the closet. It was in front of you, and you wasn't seeing it because you see the beards, or you see the girls. So you didn't look at them the way it actually is to a degree. And when I say people respond, how people respond to things matter, like the internet will take to it and just go off with it. Meek responds being the uncomfortability. He goes, yo, nah, I'll spend $100,000 to find out why my name is in this like this. And it's in it only because he's uncomfortable.
Diddy was sexually interested in 50 Cent and wanted to take him out. He told 50 Cent that he wanted to take him out shopping, and 50 said no. Meek Mill, on the other hand, was super quick to say yes, because he knew the fame he could get by being associated with Diddy.
But you got close when he offered to take you shopping.
Yeah, you see, now Meek is in the same shirt. He's out there in the same shirt. This is not Photoshop.
Shit. This is
Stop it. Just set that up. Look, obviously was not offended by what I was offended by. Guys may say to a girl, you know, like, let me take a shot. See? Damn, they found it that quick.
What do you think is happening in the middle?
I don't know what is going on there. Because it was like, he was like, yo, you hot now. Now we got to hang out now. Like, you know, like hang out.
Yeah.
He said, I don't know, maybe I'll take you shopping and I get you some flash and you could give me the hood shit. And I was looking and I was like, let me just move away from him because I'm going to mess up the way. Certain things, they let it go by because it's Puff. He wasn't like in the closet. He was like in the hallway.
All these years, you being the only one calling this out.
No, I look like I've been the crazy guy for a long time.
They say you're a hater. They say you're crazy.
You do this, and now everybody's complaining. My ass is hurting.
The only reason 50 is speaking out while everyone else is quiet is because 50 doesn't have anything to hide, unlike all these other celebrities who were partying with Diddy and regulars at his freak-offs. 50 chose integrity. Now he's exposing everyone that was involved in this sex trafficking ring.